Have you ever wondered why the rich keep getting richer? Is it just about working harder, or is there something more to it? We live in a world where wealth seems to be concentrated in the hands of a few. For many, the mystery of wealth accumulation remains unsolved, like a puzzle waiting for the right piece to complete the picture. Is it a question of working more hours, climbing the corporate ladder, or perhaps inheriting a fortune from a distant relative? What if I told you it's none of those? See, the secret lies not in the work, but in the thought. The rich don't just work, they think. They strategize, they plan, and they execute. It's a game of chess, not checkers. It's about making the right moves, not just any move. But let's take a step back and dig a little deeper. You see, it's not just about thinking, but rather the kind of thinking that sets the rich apart. Here we come across two distinct mindsets: the rich mentality and the poor mentality. The rich mentality is not about having a fat bank account, a fleet of luxury cars, or a mansion on a hill. It's about a mindset, a way of thinking. It's about seeing opportunities where others see obstacles, about taking calculated risks, about learning from failures rather than being deterred by them. On the flip side, the poor mentality is not about the lack of material possessions. It's about a mindset of scarcity, of limitation. It's about seeing obstacles where others see opportunities, about playing it safe, about being discouraged by failures rather than learning from them. These two mentalities are not just about wealth, but also about life. They shape our actions, our decisions, and ultimately our destiny. They are the lenses through which we view the world, coloring our perceptions and defining our realities. So if you're wondering why the rich keep getting richer, look no further than the mentality. Because the truth is, the rich don't just work harder, they think differently. They have a different mindset, a different approach, a different view of the world. In the end, it all boils down to the mindset, doesn't it? Let me take you on a journey. The journey of a man named John, who transformed his life not by changing his work, but his mentality. John was an ordinary man, born into a family that struggled to make ends meet. His early years were marked by the same trials that millions face around the globe. His parents worked long hours in low-wage jobs, and the spectre of financial insecurity was a constant companion. John was not born with a silver spoon in his mouth, nor did he have any extraordinary talents. His circumstances were humble, and his future seemed predetermined by the constraints of his birth. John's story, however, is not one of despair, but of transformation. From his humble beginnings, John found his way to a life of abundance, not through a lottery win or a fortuitous inheritance, but through a shift in his mentality. As he grew older, John began to notice a pattern. He saw that those around him, including his parents, were locked in a cycle of hard work with little reward. They were stuck in jobs they didn't love, living paycheck to paycheck with no apparent way out. John began to question if there was more to life than this seemingly endless cycle of work and financial struggle. His moment of realization came during a chance encounter with a successful entrepreneur. This man, who had built a prosperous business from scratch, shared a profound insight with John. He said, "Rich people don't work harder, they think differently." This statement struck a chord with John. He began to ponder, what if the key to wealth and prosperity wasn't just about working harder, but about changing your mindset? John embarked on a journey of self-discovery, delving into books, attending seminars, and seeking out mentors. He learned about the power of positive thinking, the importance of setting goals, and the value of perseverance. He discovered the concept of Stoicism, understanding that one's response to circumstances, rather than the circumstances themselves, truly shapes one's life. John realized that he'd been trapped in a poor mentality, believing that he was destined for a life of struggle because of his background. He understood that this mentality had limited his aspirations and kept him in a cycle of financial hardship. But now, armed with his new mindset, John was determined to break free. He started by setting clear financial goals and devising a plan to achieve them. He worked on cultivating a positive attitude, focusing on opportunities rather than obstacles. He practiced Stoicism, learning to remain calm and collected in the face of adversity. John's journey wasn't easy. There were setbacks, disappointments, and moments of doubt. But with each challenge, he used his new mindset to find solutions rather than dwelling on the problem. He learned to view failure not as a dead end, but as a stepping stone to success. As he changed his mentality, John's life began to transform. Opportunities that he would have previously overlooked now seemed to appear from nowhere. His financial situation improved, and he found himself living a life of abundance that he had once only dreamed of. John's wealth didn't change because he worked harder, but because he thought differently. His story serves as a powerful reminder that our mentality, not our circumstances, determines our reality. Each of us, like John, has the ability to transform our lives, not by working harder, but by thinking differently. So let's take a leaf out of John's book. Let's challenge our mindset. Let's break free from the poor mentality, and let's embark on our own journey from rags to riches. John's wealth didn't change because he worked harder, but because he thought differently. But what was it that John changed in his mentality? The answer lies in an ancient philosophy, Stoicism. Emerging from the intellectual vigor of ancient Greece, Stoicism is a philosophy that encourages virtue, wisdom, and the understanding of the natural world. Its teachings have been passed down through centuries, influencing countless individuals and shaping societies. But what exactly is Stoicism, and how does it empower individuals like John? At its core, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. It reminds us that the world can be unpredictable, tempestuous, and often beyond our control. But our reactions, our emotions, and our thoughts, those are firmly within our grasp. Stoicism encourages us to take responsibility for these elements, to shape them in a way that brings us peace and contentment. Consider a storm, for instance. We cannot control the wind, the rain, or the thunder, but we can control our reaction to it. We can choose to bemoan our circumstances, or we can choose to accept them, to find peace in the rhythm of the rain and the roll of the thunder. This is the essence of Stoicism, acceptance of the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. But Stoicism is not just about acceptance. It is also about finding contentment in the present. Our society is often forward-looking, always chasing the next goal, the next milestone. But Stoicism encourages us to pause, to breathe, to appreciate the now. It teaches us that happiness is not a destination, but a state of being, one that we can achieve if we only stop and take a moment to be present. Stoicism also promotes virtue and wisdom. It advises us to act with integrity, to be honest, just, and kind. It asks us to seek knowledge and understanding, to be curious about the world and our place in it. Stoicism is not a path to wealth or success in the material sense, but a path to a richer, more fulfilling life. John embraced these principles. He learned to focus on what he could control, his work ethic, his mindset, his approach to challenges. He learned to let go of what he couldn't, the economy, the job market, the opinions of others. He found contentment in the present, appreciating each day, each moment for what it was. He pursued virtue and wisdom, striving to be a better person, a better entrepreneur. And it was this shift in mentality, this embrace of Stoicism, that empowered John. It gave him the strength to persevere, the resilience to bounce back from failure, the peace to weather the storms of life. It wasn't about money or success, but about finding contentment, peace, and fulfillment. Stoicism, it seems, is the secret ingredient to John's success. But how does one implement Stoicism in their life, you might wonder? Let's delve deeper into John's life to understand. John, like many of us, faced his own set of trials and tribulations. However, it was his unique approach to these hardships, influenced by the principles of Stoicism, that set him apart. Take, for example, the time when John's business faced a severe financial crisis. The company was on the brink of bankruptcy, and many people expected John to panic. But rather than being overwhelmed by the situation, John calmly assessed the situation. He understood that worrying about the circumstances wouldn't change them. Instead, he focused his energy on finding a solution. He asked himself, "What can I control in this situation?" John realized that he couldn't control the market conditions that led to the crisis, but he could control the company's response to it. He could control his own actions and decisions. So he decided to restructure the business, cut down on unnecessary expenses, and focus on the company's core products. John's Stoic approach helped him navigate through the storm and eventually turn the business around. Another instance that showcases Stoicism in John's life is his reaction to criticism. In the early days of his entrepreneurial journey, John faced a lot of criticism. People doubted his ideas, his strategies, and even his capability as a leader. However, John didn't let this criticism deter him. Instead, he used it as a tool for self-improvement. He understood that criticism was a part of life, especially for someone trying to do something out of the ordinary. He recognized that he couldn't control what others thought of him or said about him, but he could control how he reacted to it. So, he chose to learn from the criticism, improve his strategies, and prove his detractors wrong through his actions. John also applied Stoicism to his personal life. When his father fell seriously ill, John was devastated. But he knew that grieving wouldn't change the situation. He understood that life was unpredictable and that everyone had to face their share of hardships. So he chose to focus on what he could control, taking care of his father and spending quality time with him during his last days. Stoicism also guided John's decision-making process. He didn't make decisions based on fleeting emotions or immediate gratification. Instead, he made decisions based on long-term goals and the greater good. He understood that every decision had consequences, and that it was important to think through these consequences before making a decision. For instance, when John had the opportunity to expand his business by cutting corners and compromising on quality, he chose not to. He knew that this decision might lead to short-term profits, but it would harm his reputation and the trust of his customers in the long run. So he decided to stick to his principles, even if it meant slower growth. Through these examples, we can see how John applied the principles of Stoicism in his life. He understood that life was full of uncertainties and challenges, but instead of worrying about these uncertainties and challenges, he focused on what he could control: his actions, his decisions, and his reactions. He didn't let external circumstances dictate his happiness or success. Instead, he found happiness and success within himself through his Stoic approach to life. John's story teaches us that Stoicism isn't just about enduring hardships, it's about understanding what you can and cannot control, focusing your energy on what you can control, and accepting what you cannot control with grace. It's about making decisions based on long-term goals and the greater good rather than immediate gratification. It's about maintaining your composure in the face of adversity and using challenges as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Stoicism, therefore, isn't just a philosophy but a way of life. So, how can you break free from the shackles of a poor mentality? It's a question that carries the weight of centuries, and yet it's one that we can answer today with a bit of wisdom from the Stoics and a few lessons from life. First, let's understand what a poor mentality is. It's not just about the lack of money, but rather, it's a mindset that limits your potential, that convinces you that you are stuck and that there's no way out. This mindset is often rooted in fear, in doubt, in the belief that you don't deserve any better. To break free from this mentality, it's essential to shift your perspective. It's not about how much money you have, but rather how you think about it. It's about understanding that wealth is not just about material possessions, but about the richness of your mind and spirit. Take a leaf from John's book. He started with nothing, but he never let that define him. Instead, he chose to see his situation as a challenge, a stepping stone to greater things. He chose to embrace the Stoic principle of amor fati, the love of fate. He chose to love his journey regardless of its hardships and to use it as an opportunity for growth. Another key to breaking the poor mentality is to cultivate an attitude of gratitude. Too often we focus on what we lack rather than appreciating what we have. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. It helps you to see the richness in your life, not just in terms of money, but in terms of relationships, experiences, and opportunities. John didn't just count his pennies, he counted his blessings. He appreciated every small victory, every lesson learned, every person who helped him along the way. This attitude of gratitude helped him to attract more abundance into his life. The process of breaking the poor mentality also involves challenging your limiting beliefs. These are the beliefs that hold you back, that tell you that you're not good enough, smart enough, or deserving enough. But remember, these beliefs are not facts. They are just thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. John challenged his limiting beliefs every day. He questioned his doubts, faced his fears, and proved them wrong, one step at a time. He replaced negative thoughts with positive affirmations, reminding himself of his worth, his potential, and his capacity to create change. Lastly, to break the poor mentality, you need to take action. It's not enough to think differently, you need to act differently too. You need to make choices that align with your new, richer mindset. These might be small steps at first, like saving a little bit more each month or investing in your education. But over time, these small steps can lead to big changes. John didn't just dream of a better life, he worked for it. But remember, it wasn't about working harder, it was about working smarter. He made choices that were aligned with his vision of success. He invested in himself, in his knowledge and skills. He took risks, seized opportunities, and never stopped learning. In the end, breaking the poor mentality is not a one-time event, but a lifelong journey. It's about constant growth, constant learning, and constant evolution. It's about embracing the Stoic principles of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, and using them to guide your actions. Remember, it's not about working harder, it's about thinking differently. It's about breaking free from the shackles of a poor mentality and embracing a richer, more abundant mindset. It's about realizing that you are not defined by your circumstances, but by your choices, your actions, and your beliefs. It's about understanding that wealth is not just about money, but about the richness of your mind, your spirit, and your life. The journey to wealth isn't a straight road. It's a winding path that requires not just hard work, but also the right mentality. And so, as we draw to the end of our exploration, let's revisit the key points that have been underscored throughout this discourse. We've taken a comprehensive journey, delving into the minds of the affluent, discovering the potent power of Stoicism, and understanding how to break free from the shackles of a poor mentality. We've learned that wealth isn't merely about the accumulation of money, it's not about the hustle and grind, the long hours at work, or the fleeting satisfaction of a hefty paycheck. True wealth lies in the mind. It's about nurturing a rich mentality, a mindset that doesn't just see the world in terms of dollars and cents, but in opportunities, growth, and fulfillment. We've delved into the story of John, a man who rose from rags to riches, not just because he worked hard, but because he thought differently. He saw beyond his circumstances, envisioned a better life, and went after it with an unwavering resolve. He didn't just work, he thought, planned, and strategized. He shifted his mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance, from one of fear to one of courage, from one of complacency to one of relentless ambition. We've also explored the profound philosophy of Stoicism, a philosophy that isn't about suppressing emotions, but about understanding and managing them effectively. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm in the face of adversity, to be resilient in the face of setbacks, and to maintain an unwavering focus on our goals, regardless of external circumstances. It's a philosophy that fosters a mindset of tranquility and self-control, qualities that are indispensable on the journey to wealth. We've seen Stoicism in action, how it empowers individuals to take control of their lives, to not be swayed by external circumstances, but to focus on their internal responses. It's about understanding that we can't control everything in our lives, but we can control how we react to them. We've also learned about the importance of breaking the poor mentality, of shifting our perspective from one of scarcity to one of abundance. It's about recognizing the abundance of opportunities around us, about believing in our potential to grow, to succeed, to become wealthy. In conclusion, the journey to wealth isn't just about working hard. It's about thinking right. It's about nurturing a rich mentality, embracing the philosophy of Stoicism, and breaking free from the poor mentality. It's a journey that requires not just physical effort, but mental resilience, strategic thinking, and emotional intelligence. Change your mentality, embrace Stoicism, and watch as your life transforms just like John's. If you find this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment and share it with others who might benefit from these valuable insights. Let's embark on this transformative journey together.